Yanmaya Vashavarti Vishwamakhilam Brahmadi Deva Sura Yat Sattva Damrushaiva Bhati Sakalam Rajyo Yatha Her Brahmaha यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवां बोधे स्थितिर्षावताम् वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om 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 Jaya Jaya Ram Om Jaya Jaya Ram Om Yavar Ramachandra ki jai. Hari Om. We were in the prasanga of Dhanush Bhanga. Dhanush has been kept there and all kings have come and they have tried their best to move that bow and nobody was able to move it even an inch. It's very interesting that Goswamiji has elaborated this prasanga so much. He has written almost 20-30 dohas just on this Dhanush prasanga, Dhanush Bhanga prasanga. But later, when this prasanga is about to end, he says the purpose of this prasanga is the listener should take a seat in that Dhanush Yajna and watch what all things are happening, because all of it is talking about the greatness and the power of Bhagwan Rama. That is how this prasanga will end. That everything he describes, and suddenly he says, Tulsidas ji, he puts himself and he says, Tulsidas ji, I was sitting in that Dhanush Yajna, and after Bhagwan broke this bow, I said Jai Shri Ram. That Jai Jaikar I did. This is how Goswamiji says. Not that he is reporting from somewhere. So he's inviting all of us, if we can, then come and sit in that Dhanush Yajna and then see what all things are happening there. What are the different types of emotions that are coming through all the different devotees who are there. All are great devotees. One is Lakshman ji, Janak Maharaj, Sita ji, Sita ji's mother, Sunaina ji. Her thoughts also will be shared today. And the point is, what all different things went on in the minds of these great devotees. Goswamiji also writes that this prasanga is very deep because the Dhanush which is there, it is not just Shiva Dhanush. Time and again he has been using the word Bhava Chapa. Bhava Chapa means all the negativities, all other emotions that we want to get away from us, all those things will go and reside in this Dhanush, and Bhagwan Rama will come and break that Dhanush. So he says it's a symbolic aspect also, and he himself will elaborate it more. So when this happened, all the kings came and they tried to move the Dhanush, nothing happened. Janak Maharaj, who is otherwise Videha Raja, he also decides to do some Leela. What does he do? he comes and stands in front of everybody, and then he gives, as though he is very disappointed with all of them. He is just sharing his thoughts with everybody who is gathered there. He says, all of you are great kings, and great devatas also have taken the form of a king, and you have come here. But nobody could move this bow even a little. The result of this Dhanush Yajna is so great that everybody wants it, but none of you moved it even as much as a mustard seed. This is after 251. The first chaupai, he says, Rahau chadau ba torab bhai, tilu bhari bhumi na sakhe chadai. Tilu bharu bhumi means even that much distance as a mustard seed, even that much all of you could not move. Now, if somebody is very brave, somebody is Veera, and you are very proud of your strength, don't feel bad. Because I have understood that on this earth, there are no valorous kings left anymore. Abajani ko maakhe bhatamani, veera bahina, mahi main jani. Until this, everything was okay. When he says this line, that I have understood this earth to be devoid of all great kings, Lakshmanji's ears suddenly go up. He was sitting there. So this is the first line that he heard, rolled his eyebrows, and now he is going to show his anger. Okay. Janak Maharaj is continuing. He says, now all of you go home. Actually speaking, it shows he is overpowered by emotions. He is doing his Leela also, because he also knows Vishwamitra Rishi is there, Bhagwan Rama is sitting there, and he has recognized Bhagwan Ram. Previous prasanga we saw that. But now he is telling all the kings, now you all can go home. I don't think anything can happen. And Sitaji's Vivaha is not written only. And he says, on the other hand, our tradition is such that once we take up a vow, once we give some word, we don't go back on it. So this Dhanush Yajna, I have already led. Now I cannot go back on that clause. Now every chaupai has several layers to its meaning. We should take the right interpretation in this particular context. You see, what does Janak Maharaj say? Sukrit jai jo puni pariharahu, kuwari kuwari rahu ka karahu. This is the third chaupai. This shows his conviction in karma siddhanta. Don't just apply it to one particular situation. He says, if our karmas are good, then we don't have to worry about the results. And one of the things is, if we have given a word to somebody, making sure that we don't go back on that at any cost. So that was their, conviction, and that gave them a lot of punya. So he says that punya is greater than any immediate thing that I am going to do. In situation, if I want to change, work on karma, situation will be taken care of by itself. But over here he is saying, what can I do now? This Dhanush Yajna also I cannot take back. If I had known that there was no king left, no valorous king left, I would not have taken such a condition. But what to do? I already promised, and now I am caught in between. Now everybody else felt very sad for Sita ji, that why does she have to go through Janak Maharaj's condition and so on. But there was Lakshman ji sitting there. He did not feel sad, but he felt angry. Okay, so now Lakshman ji's charitra we see from this doha onwards. Lakshman ji, Goswami ji introduced him earlier as somebody who is like the flag post, on whom the flag of Bhagwan's charitra is very well seen. So whenever Lakshmanji is with Bhagwan, he will do something so that he gets the blame and Bhagwan gets all the credit. So here also he is showing anger. And if you just look at this prasanga, it looks like, oh, Bhagwan is so calm and composed. And Lakshmanji is the one who gets angry very soon. But whatever he is going to say, Bhagwan could not have said himself. It would be as though he is bragging about himself. He says, I can go and break this bow and so on. So Bhagwan would not have said it anyway. So Lakshmanji takes it on him and he says it. And in several places we see he becomes that post, on which the flag is very easily seen. An interesting thing is, the post is always unrecognized. We see the flag, we salute the flag, but seldom do we look at the post which has made that flag go up. So this is Lakshmanji's charitra. Very quiet otherwise, but whenever he has to bring out Bhagwan's glory, he will do sevak dharma. Means he will do something by which Bhagwan's greatness will be seen even more. And his distinct quality that we keep seeing in many places is his anger. Generally, we feel anger is something which is a negative quality. But if it comes in some Satpurusha like Lakshmanji, that same anger becomes Bhushanam. Bhushanam means ornamentation, not a shortcoming, not Dushanam. What is anger in general? For sadhakas or for jivas, anger is something which comes when an obstruction comes towards our intensely desired object. If we desire something and somebody is stopping us from getting that, then towards that obstacle, we get anger. Bhagwan said in Bhagavad Gita, from kama comes krodha. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, that was later. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate. From kama comes krodha. Now that is for jivas. Another place Bhagwan said, the source of all trouble in our life, he says, is Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava. Means this krodha has come from rajoguna and that causes lot of havoc in a sadhaka's life. Okay, 2 points he has pointed out in Bhagavad Gita. One is the source of anger, he says, is kama. Intense attachment, desire is there for something, that will give rise to anger. And second is, if Rajoguna is too high, then also anger can come. What is the difference between anger of a jiva and anger of Lakshmanji? So anger in jiva's case is kama prerita, prompted by kama. But anger in Lakshmanji's case is Rama prerita. Means he doesn't get angry if anybody says anything to him. His cause of anger is not kama. His cause of anger is Bhagwan Rama. If anybody doubts Bhagwan's strength, then he gets angry. If Bhagwan has to do something which doesn't befit him, then he gets angry. Samudra Devata doesn't come for 3 days. Bhagwan is sitting and praying. First, Lakshmani did not like that only. He says, Bhagwan, you are Lord of the universe. You have to pray to Varun Devata, Samudra Devata to give way. So there you see Lakshmanji's anger. So first is, it is not Kama Prerita, it is Rama Prerita. And second is, His anger is not rooted in Rajoguna. His anger is fully in control of Sattva-guna. That is why Bhagwan can just look at him in his eye and make him calm down. We'll see now. He doesn't even speak. After Lakshmanji gets angry and shows whatever he has to show, Bhagwan just indicates him, now over, you come back, and very lovingly he makes him sit next to him. Jiva's anger is not like that. Anger is not in Jiva's control. Jiva becomes in control of anger. So whenever we read these prasangas, we should just appreciate where they were. These prasangas are not to say that it is okay to get angry. Okay, otherwise you'll have a conflict with what Bhagwan is saying in Bhagavad Gita. On one hand, we are trying to overcome anger. On the other hand, we find such chaupais, such prasangas where we say anger is a good thing. It is good thing as long as it is under Sattva Guna and it is Rama Prerita. Not for our opinions or any kind of worldly thing. His anger was for something divine. Okay. So let us see now what is Lakshmanji saying. He is just doing pranams first to Bhagwan. 252 Doha. Kahina sakata raghubira dara, lage bhajana janubana, nai ramapada kamal siru, bole gira pramana. Out of the fear for Bhagwan, Vishwamitra Rishi, he cannot say too many things also. But he says, I cannot sit quietly. Janak Maharaj has said so many things. I cannot just sit quietly. What does he say? That we will see now. 252 Doha onwards. Raghubam sinamahu jahako hoyo. Raghubam sinamahu jahako hoyi. Tehi samaja asakahi na koi. Kahi janak jasi anuchita bani. Vidyaman raghukula mani jani. सुनहु भानु कुल पंकज भानु कहूँ सुभाऊ न कछु अभिमानु जो तुम्हारी अनुशासन पावो कंदुक इव ब्रह्मांड उठावो काचे घट जिमि डारो फोरे सकऊ मेरु मूलक जिमि तोरे तव प्रताप महिमा भगवाना को बापुरो पिनाक पुराना नाथ जानियस आय सुहो कौतुक करो बिलोकिय हो कमल नाल जिमि चाप चढ़ावो जो जन सत प्रमाण ले धावो तोरौ छत्रक दंड जिमि तव प्रताप बलनाथ जौन करौ प्रभु पद सपत करन धरौ धनु भात लखन सकोप बचन जे बोले डगम गानि महि दे गज डोले सकल लोग सब भूप डेराने सियहि हर्षु जन कुस कुचाने गुर रघुपति सब मुनि मन माहि मुदित भये पुनि पुनि पुलकाहि सयन ही रघुपति लखनु निवारे प्रेम समेत निकट बैठारे विश्वामित्र समय शुभ जानी बोले अति स्नेहमय बानी उठहु राम भंजहु भव चापा मेटहु तात जनक परितापा सुनि गुर बचन चरण सिरुनाव हर्षु विषादुन कछूर आव ठाढ़े भय उठि सहज सुभाए ठवनि जुबा मृग राजु लजाए उदित उदय गिरि मंच पर रघुबर बाल पतंग बिकसे संत सरोज सब हर्षे लोचन भृंग सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. Lakshman ji did not take permission from Bhagwan. He just did pranams and started whatever he had to say. First, he is telling Janak Maharaj that when somebody from Raghu Vamsha is seated, no one dare say such a thing. What is that thing? Whatever you just told. There is nobody, no valorous king remaining, all of you go home. So when Raghu Vamsha Mani is sitting over here, how can you even say such a thing? And he tells Janak Maharaj that such kind of speech is not appropriate. Only Lakshman ji can say that, because Janak Maharaj is also Brahmajnani. And then he is saying to Bhagwan that Bhagwan, I know you are not going to talk about your strength. But if you give permission, let me remind Janak Maharaj of the strength of your dasa. Means I am your dasa. Let me remind everybody in a very humble way, not that I also want to speak about myself. But what I want to show is, if dasa is so powerful, how powerful the Swami would be. So my accomplishments, I just want to share and let our Janak Maharaj know. Bhagwan, only if you permit. Bhagwan must have nodded. So Lakshman ji is in a very different mood now. He says, if Bhagwan gives me permission, I can take this entire Brahmanda like a ball, and just play with it. This Brahmanda is nothing for me. I am Shesha Avatara. So entire Brahmanda is like mustard seed on my head. What is this bow in front of me? And what will I do with that Brahmanda? He says, just like you have a mud pot, which is just made, which is raw. How you can just easily break it? Like that, I can break this Brahmanda. Kache ghata jimi darao pori. Kache ghata means a pot which is raw, that clay. How easily you can break? Like that, I can break this Brahmanda. Mount Meru is there. That Mount Meru I can break like muli, radish. How effortlessly you can break it. He says, like that I can break Mount Meru. But not on my strength. Tava pratapa, mahima bhagavana. My master is so powerful that his dasa has this much of power. And whatever power dasa has, it is from Bhagwan only. It is not my power. But let me just remind you that how many valorous people are still here. And he says, when our power is such, or my power is such, what is this poor old bow going to do? That is what he calls it. Ko bapuro pinaka purana. It is not some, newly made bow. It's antique, has been given from so many generations. What is this bow in front of our strength? Then he says, I'll show you some more of my sport, what I can do. If Bhagwan gives permission, then I can string this bow like a lotus stem. Lotus stem, how delicate it is. With that much ease, I can just take this and string this bow. Not only that, I can do a marathon. 100 miles I can run along with that bow. In some other text it is written, I can even fight with all other kings with that bow. Okay, that much of power I have. Jo jana sata pramana lay dhao. Okay. But he's also reminding, I am not doing that because there is a clause attached to it. You already said, one who breaks this bow will marry Sita ji. So that work I have reserved for my Bhagavan. But oh Janak Maharaj, please note our strength before you make such statements. And then he gives some other examples. He says, we will break this bow just like you pluck mushrooms. You know how effortlessly you can pluck mushrooms. Tore chhatraka danda jimi, the stalk of that mushroom, how you pick it, like that I can break this bow. But time and again he says, I know this very clearly that this strength doesn't belong to me. Tava pratapa balanath, Bhagwan's strength it is, and Dasa has this much strength. Just imagine how much strength Swami would have. And if I don't do this, then I will never touch bow and arrow again. This is his promise. Because he says, my words are pramanika. It is not out of some emotion, I'm just saying this. Now, Lakshmanji's anger was such, it is said the entire earth started shaking, entire Brahmanda started shaking. And same incident, Lakshmanji got angry, but 3 people had different emotions. Everybody else who was there, ordinary people, they started feeling afraid. Now, what is Lakshmanji going to do? He looks so angry. Sitaji in her heart felt very happy that finally looks like Bhagwan is going to break that bow. And Janak Maharaj felt very ashamed. He said, I should have thought and spoken all the things I said when Bhagwan Rama was seated in that assembly. One way to look at it is, he is also doing Leela only. But Goswamiji writes, Janaka Saku Chane. Means in his mind he felt little ashamed that I should not have said these things. Vishwamitra Rishi, all other munis, everybody is very happy. And Bhagwan just signals Lakshmanji now, you are, nicely done. You don't have to go any further. I'll take care of the rest. Now you come and sit over here. You see that chaupai, second chaupai after 253. Sayanahi Raghupati Lakhanu Nivare Prema Samet Nikata Baithare. Just by glance, just by an indicator, Bhagwan conveys to Lakshmanji what kind of tuning they would have had. Means Lakshmanji knows precisely what will make my Bhagwan happy. So when Bhagwan says stop, he stops. But Bhagwan also has a lot of love. He makes him sit besides him. Now Bhagwan takes permission from Vasishtha, our Vishwamitra Rishi. But before that, Vishwamitra Rishi only, knowing that this is the auspicious time, he tells to Bhagwan, Uthau Rama Bhanjau Bhava Chapa, Metahu Tata Janaka Paritapa. Oh Bhagwan Rama, please get up and go and break this, not Shiva Chapa, Bhava Chapa. Now you see the symbolic meaning is also coming. Bhava means samsara. So break this samsara of all these sadhakas who are struggling so hard. And one example he gives is of Janak Maharaj. Okay, he has said this clause, and please go and fulfill that for him. And Bhagwan, when he gets up, he does pranams to Vishwamitra Rishi, but he doesn't have any extreme emotions in his heart. Harashu Bishaduna Kachu Ura Ava. One way to look at this is perfect Karma Yoga example. Bhagwan does Leela. He doesn't have to do Karma Yoga. It is order of my Guru. Vishwamitra Rishi has said, go and break this bow. So he will go and do it. No individual agenda is there. No prayojanam for himself. So that helps in getting this equanimity. We keep reading this very often in Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagwan says, Sama Dukkha Sukha Kshami, that who is a devotee? Devotee is the one who remains the same in Sukha and Dukkha. But how do I remain equanimous in Sukha Dukkha? Sukha and Dukkha are karma phalas. And they are results of our action. We can remain equanimous in result of action if we have remained equanimous while doing the action. We can remain equanimous while doing the action if we have tried to be equanimous before getting if we have tried to remain equanimous before getting into action. If before getting into action, we had extreme preferences, while doing the action, we had extreme preferences. And now when the result of that action will come in form of sukha dukkha, one cannot say, I will remain equanimous in the result of that. Okay, so this is the inner sadhana. How to remain equanimous? He says, my guru has said, so before getting into that action itself, I want to remain sama. And how did Bhagwan stand there? He says he was so majestic, like a lion, young lion standing, Kshatriya he is. In that way, Bhagwan is standing there, ready to go towards that bow. Goswamiji is, master of metaphors. He says on the horizon of that stage, the son of Raghukula, Bhagwan Rama, he shone. And all others who are there, they were like lotuses. All the saints, all of them blossomed. And their eyes were like bees, which rejoiced in the form of Bhagavan. Okay, 254th Doha, that is how he says. And now he is again elaborating on that metaphor. He says all the kings, lost their hope. All their false hope was shattered, just like night is shattered when sun rises. All their prattling, whatever they were saying about Bhagwan and whatever pride they had about their strength, all of that stopped. Just like stars stop shining after sun rises. Okay, each metaphor he is comparing with whatever is happening there. All the arrogant kings, their arrogance dried up, just like lotuses dry up when sun shines. And all other kings who had disguised themselves as kings, they went away hiding when Bhagwan came. Like what? Just like owls, they go away when sun rises. And all other munis and devatas, their sorrow was removed by seeing Bhagwan standing there. Just like the chakwa bird. That chakwa bird, its sorrow stops after sun rises. Why? Because when moon is there, it gets separated from the chakwi. Okay, so even if they are kept in the same place, they look in opposite directions. But when sun rises, they both come together. How joyful they were, like that all other Santa Mahatmas and everybody was very happy. And they showered flowers and everything. And Bhagwan Rama again bows down and takes Ajna from Vishwamitra Rishi. And now Bhagwan walks towards that Dhanush. Goswamiji is elaborating every small detail. Again, we should remember the purpose. This is just to keep our mind in Bhagwan. If possible, take a seat in one of those Dhanush Yajna. Different seating was there. Right? One seat should be ours. How did Bhagwan walk? Third Chaupai after 254. Sahajahi chale sakala jagaswami matta manju vara kunjaragami. Means Bhagwan's walk was so graceful, so majestic, and so much symbolic of strength, just like an elephant moves. Matta manju means an elephant which is intoxicated. Not intoxicated in that sense. If you see an elephant walking, it is least concerned about anybody else. Means whatever it wants, it does. Why? Because it has so much power. And even when it goes somewhere, how it goes, it says Bhagwan went towards the bow like that. Okay. This is to portray Veera Rasa. All examples he brings is to bring some rasa. So this one is for Veera Rasa. Now everybody is very delighted knowing that Bhagwan is walking towards the bow. Now, otherwise they were wondering, how long are we going to sit here? One by one, everybody comes, nobody can move. But now they have some hope, ray of hope in Bhagwan. And there's one very sweet prasanga here. All Mithila Vasis who are there, they are doing a very strange prayer. You know what is their prayer? They say, Bhagwan, whatever punya karmas we have done, if our punya karmas are strong, may the result of that punya karma be that Bhagwan breaks this bow. That Bhagwan Rama is able to break this bow. May that be the result of our punya karma. So this is the Chaupai before 255. Bandi pitara sura sukruta samhare, jo kachu punya prabhavu hamare. If we have any punya prabhava, we don't want anything for us. In general, what is punya prabhava? Whoever does punya gets sukham in their life. Sukham doesn't directly come from objects. Sukham comes from punya, and that punya brings objects outside, means material prosperity and prosperity inside. Adhyatma, quest for adhyatmic knowledge, is also a result of punya. But what are these Mithila Vasis asking? They say, whatever punya we have gathered, what should be the result? Ta siva dhanu mrunala ki nai, torehu Rama Ganesha Gosai. O Ganesh Bhagwan, you are Vignaharta. So may our punya karma be such that any obstacle that will come on Bhagwan's path, may those be removed. Now you see, punya karma is the result of remembering Bhagwan. But this is the sweetness of devotion, that they are seeking their punya karma for Bhagwan. I mean, they are exhausting or wanting to exhaust their punya karma for Bhagwan. Maybe he needs it, that while he goes to break that bow, maybe he needs that help. That is the sambandha. That much of connection they have, that much of love they have with Bhagwan. Wherever we see that oneness, wherever we have that unconditional love, there this thought comes, that may our punya karma go to that altar. For Mithila Vasis, it is Bhagwan Rama. As may our punya karmas go to Bhagwan Rama. Now everything is happening. Suddenly, Sita ji's mother, her name was Sunaina ji. She looks at Bhagwan, who is such a young boy coming, and mother's heart, after all. This young boy is going to break this bow. She looks at everybody else. She looks at Sita ji. My daughter is going to get married, and this condition they have put. Not only that, on top of that, this young boy is coming, and his teacher who was there, he gave permission also. This is, everybody is, lost their senses. Everybody's wisdom has gone for a vacation. I don't know what they're doing. Everybody is seem to be doing something very strange. So this portion is called as Sakhi Gita. Okay. It has a very adhyatmic meaning to it. What is the power of satsang? Just like Sunaina ji doubts Bhagwan's strength, we also doubt Bhagwan's strength many a times. Whenever situations come, things don't look like it is within our control. So this thought comes, I don't know whether Bhagwan is strong enough to help me get across this obstacle or not. But there, if we are able to find somebody in our life in whom we have faith, in their words we have faith, that satsang is so powerful that it will remind us that whatever small thing you are worshipping as Bhagwan, that Bhagwan's power is infinite. You might be worshipping as a small altar, but don't think that because that altar is small, Bhagwan's power is small. Like sometimes in our altar, we might have a very small murti, right? So small, tiny murti. And somebody who doesn't have that Shraddha, they might question. See, your Bhagwan is so small, and you think that he is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, everything. So then this thought should come that whatever is small, the impact, the power of that is infinite. Means Bhagwan, who is appearing in that smaller form, his power is not actually limited, he is infinite. Sometimes even some sadhanas that we do, very small sadhana they are, like Nama Japa, or just offering, some kind of prasad to Bhagwan every day, Panchopachara Puja. Not elaborate, just very small. And sometimes there might be a thought that is this even effective? Says don't doubt about efficacy of sadhana on the basis of whether it is small or big. If we do it with faith and with Shraddha, that small thing has so much power, it can give us great results. But in general, whenever we come across situations where we doubt Bhagwan's strength, there, this Sakhi Gita should come to our mind. So what is a scenario now? Sunaina ji is doubting how Bhagwan will be able to break this bow. So first she says, let us chant this one, 255 onwards. सखी सब कौतुक देख निहारे, जेऊ कहावत हितु हमारे, को न बुझाई कहई गुर पाही, ए बालक सिहठ भली नाही, रावण बाण छुआ नहीं चापा, हारे सकल भूप करि दापा, सो धनुजाज कुंवर कर देहि, बाल मराल की मंदर लेहि, भूप सयानप सकल सिरानी, सखी विधि गति कछु जाति न जानी, बोली चतुर सखी मृदु बानी, तेजवंत लघु गणियन रानी, कह कुंभज कह सिंधु अपारा, सोषेउ सुजसु सकल संसारा, कवि मंडल देखत लघु लागा, उदयता सुति भुवन तम भागा, मंत्र परम लघु जासु बस, विधि हरिहर सुर सर्व, महामत्त गजराज कहूँ, बस कर अंकुश खरब, काम कुसुम धनु सायक लीने, सकल भुवन अपने बस कीने, देवी तजिय समसौ अस आनी, भंजब धनुष राम सुनु रानी, सखी बचन सुनि भय परतीते, मिटा विषादु बढ़े अति प्रीति, तब राम ही बिलोकी भय देहि, सभय हृदय बिनवति जहि तेहि, मन ही मन मनाव अकुलानी, ओहु प्रसन्न महेश भवानी, करहु सफल आपनि सेवकाई, करिहि तुहरहु चाप गरुआई, गणनायक बरदायक देवा, आजु लगे कीन्हि उतउ सेवा, बार बार बिनती सुनि मोरे, करहु चाप गुरु ताति थोरे, देखि देखि रघुबीर तनु, देखि देखि रघुबीर तन, सुरमनावधरि धीर, भरे बिलोचन प्रेम जल, पुलकावली शरीर, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. Sunaina ji is telling other Sakhis, oh Sakhis, listen. All these people who are calling themselves to be well-wishers are actually not our well-wishers. They have just come here to watch this Dhanush Yajna, and they are not doing anything to stop Bhagwan Rama from going towards that Dhanush. Somebody please go and tell Vishwamitra Rishi to stop Bhagwan Rama. He's so young. How is he going to break this bow? What is this bow? Something that even Ravana could not break. It is said Ravana and Banasura, they also had come for this Dhanushya. But looking at all these kings coming and not being able to even move it a little, they quietly went out as though somebody is, calling them for some immediate thing, and sat on their vehicles and just went away. So somebody like Ravana and Banasura, they did not come closer. How is this young boy going to come and break this bow? Bala marala ki mandara lehi means even if out of fun, jokingly also, you never ask a child to go and lift Mount Meru. And such a thing is impossible. Why isn't anybody stopping Bhagwan Rama? Means he says, even little bit of wisdom was there, I thought, in Janak Maharaj, even that is not there. Very interesting. Huh? Everybody thinks their buddhi is the most, intelligent one. Sunaina ji is saying Janak Maharaj is ignorant. Mithilavasi are saying Janak Maharaj is ignorant. Now Sita ji also will say the same thing now, later. But what about our intellect? He says that is the best intellect. That is the one which can take the right decision all the time. That is how all of us feel. But now there was one Chatura Sakhi. Okay, what she does is, she gives several examples to show that even though something might appear small, but don't doubt the power of that thing. Okay, Tejavanta Lagu Ganiyana Rani. This is the third chaupai. Tejavanta Lagu Ganiyana Rani. Whatever is small, Lagu, but it is brilliant. So don't doubt the brilliance of it just because it looks small. Now, if examples have to be given, they have to be given in this way, very, very precise, just to show this point. What is the point? Something might appear small, but because it appears small, doesn't mean it is small. It's very brilliant. First example she gives is of Agastya Rishi. Agastya Rishi, another name is Kumbhaja, means he was born in a pot. And it is said even his physical body was very short. But this Agastya Rishi was so powerful that he drank the entire ocean. There is a Puranic story that when Gangaji was flowing down, he could hold entire Gangaji. Okay. And also another place, he dries up the entire ocean, that small looking Agastya Rishi. Then the Sakhi says, sun appears very small. It looks like a apple. Looking which our Hanumanji also got deluded. He thought it was really an apple and wanted to jump and eat it. But that small looking sun can remove the darkness from 3 worlds. So don't underestimate something because it looks small. Now she gives even a very more precise example. Mantra parama lagu jasubasa vidhi hari hara sura sarva. Mantra might look very small, but if somebody can do it well, it has the power to bring that devata for that sadhaka. Means that devata is as though under the control of that small, tiny looking mantra. Om Namah Shivaya. Such a small mantra. But don't doubt the efficacy of that. That is why this prasanga has to be very carefully studied. It is not only some example, but a lot of sadhana pointers are there. But even if you are doing a small mantra japa, because it looks small, don't doubt the efficacy. It has the ability to bring great results in our life. Mahamatta Gajaraja Kahu Basakara Ankusa Kharba. There can be an elephant, Mahamatta, intoxicated, but the Mahot who sits on that elephant uses a very tiny gourd. Ankusha means a gourd, which he just touches at the back of that elephant's ear. And that tiny little thing can control this huge elephant. And most mahots that I have seen are very skinny. Maybe they should be, because they have to climb on that elephant. Very skinny means if that elephant wants, it can just sneeze and that person will be thrown away. But still they are able to control that elephant on that tiny little gourd. It's because something looks small, don't underestimate power of it. Then she says, Kamadeva has controlled this entire creation with his Kama, where he has the bow and arrow made of flowers. Very simple looking, very small, but just with that flower, bow and arrow, he has taken this entire world under his control. Now she says, don't doubt about this, don't have this samshaya whether Bhagwan will break this bow or not. So this entire prasanga was to do asambhavana nivrutti. Asambhavana means impossibility. Whenever we get a thought that this thing is not possible. So that asambhavana, what Sunena ji had was, Bhagwan Rama, it is impossible that I will break this bow. But this Sakhi, just with her words, she was able to bring her out of this asambhavana. Then you look at Sunena ji's condition. Sakhi bachana suni bhay paratiti mita bishadu badi ati priti. It is said this is the result of satsang. This is the result of sadhana. This is the result of upasana also. That when we come closer to Bhagwan, the result of that should be this sadhaka gets such a confidence that he feels there is nothing that my Bhagwan cannot do. Whatever looks so difficult to accomplish, he says, I'm doing my part, but I know that my efforts are not alone. Bhagwan's grace is always there. Now Sita ji is very afraid. She is afraid of the same thing. Now everybody's mind Goswamiji is bringing out over here. First it was Lakshman ji, then it was Sunena ji, now it is Sita ji. And she is so afraid that she prays to all devatas. In particular, she starts with Lord Shiva and Parvati ji. Says, you are the master of this bow, so please make sure that it becomes light for my Bhagwan. And then she again prays to Ganesh Bhagwan and says that my whole purpose of worshipping you was for today only. It's a very, interesting chaupai. You look at the chaupai before 257. Gananayaka Baradayaka Deva, Aju Lage Keen Hiu Teu Seva. Means whatever seva I have done for you, Bhagwan, that is for today only. Please make sure that this bow becomes light and Bhagwan is able to break it. Means this part we had seen earlier, that on devotional path, Sakama Bhakti is our stepping stone for Nishkama Bhakti. Sakama means with a desire. Whatever I want in my life right now, putting efforts is one part, but asking Bhagwan to accomplish that thing for us. Okay, this is Sakama Bhakti. And that Sakama Bhakti only blossoms to Nishkama Bhakti. Because there is some kind of Ashraya Buddhi that this sadhaka has got in Bhagwan, then immediate things which are demanding attention, those things do not bother that sadhaka much. Right? Because he has understood, I have some Ashraya and my sambandha with my Bhagwan is such that if I ask, he will give. On that strength, he becomes relatively fearless. Not absolutely, relatively fearless. And because it has been asked from Bhagwan, that thing which he has gotten, it doesn't bind him. Because Bhagwan will also make sure that this sadhaka graduates to the next step. So we should not dismiss Sakama Bhakti without going through it. Because otherwise what happens is, desires remain, but bhakti goes away. Kamana remains, but that bhakti which could have taken us from Sakama to Nishkama, that is dropped. Right? So that is this prasanga. Sita ji is telling Ganesh Bhagwan, that Chaupai we should read again. She is telling Ganesh Bhagwan that my devotion was for this day only. And what is she going to ask? Let this bow become lighter, and Bhagwan should break this bow. But Sita ji's state is very, mixed emotions in her heart. On one side, she is seeing Bhagwan several times and just remembering Bhagwan's greatness, his glory. But on the other hand, she has, tears in her eyes because a lot of uncertainty is there, and that love also sometimes brings some kind of fear. Now Sita ji does a very interesting leela. Okay, leela of a jiva. Sita ji need not do all of these things, but she is doing a very interesting leela where she is showing what is the condition of jivas in general. On one hand, they have bhakti also, but on another hand, there is worry also. Okay, anxiety is also there, and devotion is also there. So that leela she is going to portray over here. Until now, she was all devotional, asking Sita, Parvati ji, Lord Shiva, Ganesh Bhagwan. So devotion part is there. But now suddenly she starts worrying about what is going to happen next. Will Bhagwan be able to break that bow? I don't know why my father had to take all these conditions and so on. But you should remember, it is Leela of Sita ji. Okay, we'll do our Nama Sankirtanam. Aganita Guna Gana Bhushan Rama. It starts replaying. Break that bow. I don't know why. Aganita Guna Gana Bhushan Rama. Ashrita Vatsala Jaya Jaya Rama. Ayodhyavasi Sita Rama. Apad Bandhava Jaya Jaya Rama. Dasharatha Nandana Shri Rama. Dashamukhamardana Jaya Jaya Rama. Kausalya Sukhavardhana Rama. Kamita Phalada Jaya Jaya Rama. Papa Vimochana Shri Rama. Pattabhi Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Janaki Vallabha Sita Rama. Jaya Raghu Rama. Jaya Sita Rama. Vanara Sevita Shri Rama. Varidhi Bandhana Jaya Jaya Rama. Hanumat Pujita Sita Rama. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama. Patita Pavana Sita Rama. Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. Syavara Ramachandra ki jai. Satgurunath Maharaj ki jai.